So I've talked previously in videos about how modes can have some practical applications. One of those is composing in a mode or writing a song in a mode. So this video is going to go a little deeper into that. Now, a little disclaimer, this video is made with the assumption that you already know a little bit about what modes are. This isn't going to go over the basics. So if you're looking to learn what modes are, this probably isn't the video for you. Maybe I should make a video, modes for beginners. To accompany this video, I've created a little PDF to summarize all the stuff I'm talking about, and that is available on my Patreon page. Did I tell you that I'd started a Patreon page? You should go over there and check out what's going on. Okay, let's get straight to it. Different modes create different moods, and there may be times when you want to write something that elicits that specific mood or feeling. Alternatively, you might want to use it as a way to add some variety to your compositions, or maybe just do this to explore what those different moods and feelings are across the different modes. Let me also add that some modes really lend themselves well to be written in, and some not so much. We'll explore that a little bit, but they're not all made equal. Right, now how do we go about writing within a mode? Well, I'd like to start by thinking about how we might write within a major key. Now, a common way to write in Western music is within the context of a major key, using the notes and the chords that we have available there. So we have our major scale, which gives us the notes that we can use, and then we can combine those together to create the chords from the scale. And then we take that harmony, the chords, and we add a melody over the top, the notes, and we can create a song. Typically our jumping off point would be our tonic chord, and then we would add some movement within our harmony and our melody. Then we mooch about for a bit, and then resolve to our tonic chord again. Simple, just written a song. Now, rather than using our common old run-of-the-mill major scale, let's try and do the same thing with another scale. So let's take our major scale but make some tweaks. Now, if we think of our major scale as being numbered 1 to 7, but instead of being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, let's make some changes. Let's flatten the second, let's flatten the third, let's flatten the sixth, and let's flatten the seventh. So we're flattening that one and that one. So we've got... Now don't get ahead of yourself and get all clever. Let's try and stay in that headspace of what we're so used to doing with our major scale and apply it here. So in the same way, let's create the chords that live within this new scale. And we do that while we build chords on each note by adding other notes from the scales in intervals of thirds, or skipping a note. So first we get C minor, and then we get D flat major, E flat major, F minor, G diminished, A flat major, B flat minor, and then we're back to C minor. Now, using that information, let's create a song. We'll do the same thing we did before by taking the chords, the harmony, and we're adding the melody, the notes from the chords, and we'll create a new song. So as before, our jumping off point will be our tonic chord, and then we'll add a melody using the notes of our scale, and then we'll add some harmonic movement to it using the chords from our scale, and eventually return to our tonic chord. Now, obviously, this isn't our typical major scale, so this is going to have a different color or a different flavor to it. So let's see what we can create. I think I might need some extra reverb on this one. Now let's analyze what we just did there. I'm sure some of you had figured out that the intervals that I used in that scale are the same intervals within the Phrygian mode. Or maybe what you realized was that the notes that I chose are the same notes from an A flat major scale, but starting on a C. Now C is the third degree of A flat major scale, and the third mode of the major scale is the Phrygian mode. So what you could say is that I just improvised or composed within the Phrygian mode. Ta-da! Okay, so it can be that simple. So if we think of a mode more like a key, where we have a particular set of notes and chords that we can compose with, then we're generally going to compose something that contains the colors and the flavors of whichever modes we choose. As I said before, not all modes are made equal, but there are certain things that we can be mindful of that will help us to do this more successfully. Firstly, a really important factor of playing in modes or creating the feeling that a certain mode gives off is clearly establishing what the tonic chord is, or what I like to call home base, so that when we arrive at that chord, it feels like our resolution. Now that's easier to achieve in some modes than in others. I talked before in another video about how we can really clearly hear the flavors and the colors and the moods of the modes when we play around the scale with the root note, the tonic, in our bass. So our ear becomes rooted to that tonic note. But when we start to move away from that harmony, or we add other harmony in different chords, it can sometimes be difficult to keep that tonal center. But there are a couple of things that we can do to help. To start with, we can simply just keep coming back to our tonic chord. So reaffirming and reminding our listener's ear of what the tonic chord is. In the second half of that piece that I played before, I kept coming back to that C minor after every chord, to cement us in that tonal center of C Phrygian, and to remind us that this is the tonic chord. Also, there'll still be chords that have stronger cadences, a stronger pull to the tonic chord, so make use of those. They won't be quite as strong as our authentic cadence that we're used to in a major scale, but some of the same principles still apply. Our dominant to our tonic and our subdominant to our tonic are still strong. Our medians, both of our median chords, are weak. Flat 2 and flat 7 are good, strong cadences. Like in Phrygian there, we had our flat 2 to the 1, or flat 7 to the 1. So being mindful of our cadences will help keep us anchored into that feel of the mode. Another way we can help to enhance the colors and the feel of the modes we're using is to use character tones in the melodies. What do I mean by that? Let's use the minor modes of the major scale to explain. So Dorian, Phrygian, Aeolian. If I've got C minor here, and I chose the notes of C minor pentatonic, C, E, B, E flat, F, G, B flat, to create my melodies. Now that wouldn't be very helpful at pointing us to which of those modes I was using, or creating the mood that's related to one of those modes. And why is that? Yes, because those 5 notes are present in all of the minor modes of the major scale. So C Dorian, C Phrygian, C Aeolian all contain those 5 notes. So actually, for the minor modes, the notes that characterize what mode you're in is actually the 2nd and the 6th. If I played a natural 2, that immediately discounts Phrygian because there isn't a natural 2 in Phrygian. But both Aeolian and Dorian have a flat 2, and it's the 6th which characterizes them. So a Dorian has a natural 6. Whereas an Aeolian has a flat 6. So if we wanted to create a piece that was in Dorian specifically, for example, then we would look to lean on those character tones, the natural 2 and the natural 6, because it would really differentiate it from the other 2 minor modes of the major scale. So that's what I mean when I talk about using character tones within our melody. Obviously our chord choices and our harmonic movement can introduce those character tones too, but we can really exaggerate them by putting in our melodies. An easy way to locate the character notes of a scale is to look for the semitones, or the half steps. So every mode of the major scale has 2 half-step intervals. In the Ionian mode, it's between the 3rd and the 4th, and the 7th and the root. Incidentally, this is also where our tritone lives, and that strong resolution in those 4 notes. But I think if you take in any mode and you find those 4 semitone intervals along with the root note, you find the color, the flavor of that mode. So, for example, Aeolian. Dorian. So our intervals, our semitone intervals are here and here. Okay, Phrygian, there and there. Phrygian, Lydian, we've got here and here. Mixolydian, here and here. Aeolian, C Aeolian would be here and here. And then Locrian, here and here. Pretty cool, eh? Okay, let's have a look at some examples of composing with some other modes. We've already looked at Phrygian, but the other 2 minor modes of the major scale, the Dorian and the Aeolian, both work really nicely too. So here's something in Dorian using the same principles. Okay, so what about the Aeolian mode? You're probably already aware that the Aeolian mode is the same scale as the natural minor scale, so your ear may already be attuned to this sort of sound. Okay, so that's Aeolian. Now let's have a look at Mixolydian. Now this is probably something that you'll be familiar with the sound of, whether you know it or not. But it's a staple of rock and pop music. And the Mixolydian scale has only 1 note difference from our major scale. It has a flat 7. The common usage of this is movement from our tonic chord to our flat 7 chord, and then to the 4 chord, and back to the 1. You'll find this in a bunch of songs, and typically here our strongest cadence is the 4 chord to the 1 chord. I'm sure you could list a whole host of songs that use this progression, or are predominantly Mixolydian based in their composition. Now there's a couple more modes that we haven't looked at yet, and these ones are a bit more tricky. So first we've got Lydian. Now, like Mixolydian, Lydian only has one note different from our major scale. This time it's the sharp 4. So with just one note difference, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this one should be fairly straightforward. Yet if I approach this in the same way that I have the others, by playing chords from C Lydian and move them around and add some melody notes and then resolve back to my C, see what happens. Does that C feel resolved to you, or does it want to resolve to that G? Yeah? See, Lydian is inherently unstable, and part of that is because of the unstable tritone and where it's located within the Lydian mode. Now, every mode contains a tritone within it, but unlike the other modes we've looked at so far, the tritone within Lydian is based off the root note. So it's really hard to find some stability on the root note due to that tritone being present, because the tritone's wanting to pull us, that tension and release wants to release and resolve away from there. But there are some common uses of Lydian, so let's have a look at them. Now, the Lydian sound is pretty common within film scoring. A typical usage of that would be something like sound familiar? Because Lydian is unstable and is trying to put us back to that Aeolian resolution, a good way to maintain that Lydian flavour is to pedal that root note, that tonic, underneath everything else and keep returning back to that tonic to keep that flavour, keep us anchored within Lydian. Also, you could just exclusively stay on that tonic chord and let your melody introduce that Lydian flavour with the sharp 4. So it might feel like we've got limited movement within Lydian. What we can do to add a bit of movement is to actually take that idea and move it through different keys. So although we're not going to strictly stay within, say, C Lydian, we can move that Lydian sound throughout different key centers and still retain a Lydian feel. So something like... So we've still got that feeling of Lydian, even though we're not staying within C Lydian. It's nice. I think more often than not, when people do use Lydian in their writing, it tends to be that it's Lydian for a certain section. There isn't a whole piece that's within Lydian. It's Lydian for a section to create a certain feeling, and then it moves somewhere else, usually the Ionian mode or the major scale. Right, the last one, and this is another tricky one, the Locrian mode. Now, like the Lydian, one of the problems with the Locrian mode is that, again, the tritone within our mode is built off our root note. So for the same reason, this doesn't help bring any stability. But also, I've talked already about how important it is to feel like that tonic chord is the resolution and the home center of our mode. Now, the tonic chord in Locrian is a diminished chord. Now, unlike a major chord or a minor chord, which are inherently stable, they don't feel like they need to resolve somewhere else. Whereas a diminished chord is inherently unstable because of that tritone. So where that wants to resolve somewhere else. So what can we do? Well, we know that if we pedal our root note and play Locrian melodies at the top, we create that Locrian sound. But similarly, as we talked about before, if we keep coming back to our tonic chord, we can help establish it as that home center. So something like this. Obviously, Locrian has quite a dark feeling there, and I think there's an element that you have to get comfortable with the discomfort of a mode like this. But I think in this sort of scenario, your best friend is keep coming back, continuously coming back to that tonic chord, just to reiterate that's where your tonal center is. I've seen other examples where people will have an underlying riff that outlines the Locrian tonal center, which then gives you a bit of freedom over the top of that riff to move a bit in and out. So having something like that gives you a bit of freedom to move away and then come back, because you've always got that outlining where that tonal center is. Adam Neely made a good video a little while ago where he challenged some other music creators to compose something completely in Locrian. It's worth a watch. I'll put the link in the description once you've finished watching this one. Yeah. So the two L's, Lydian and Locrian, not so straightforward as the others, but still fun to explore. I hope that might have helped demystify some elements of working with modes. I think it's worth saying as well that you don't have to write a song that's completely in one mode. It's quite common to write a song within a mode and then move to a different mode for another part of the song. Sometimes you might want a certain feeling or mood for one section and not for another section. So experiment, explore, see what you like. Hopefully this helps should you wish to create something yourself within a certain mode or mood. Remember to head over to Patreon if you want to pick up that PDF. And thanks for being here.